go ahead and start with our topic today, which is connecting online and developing a PLN, or what's often called a personal professional online network or learning network for English language teachers specifically. But if you're not an English language teacher, you can always find some useful theory, pedagogy, and then also references and resources if you're a general teacher as well. Now, the reason I'm coming to you today and I'm presenting this webinar for you is because I've been a connected teacher for 4 or 5 years. I started, actually 5 years. I started with Twitter, and when I went to Twitter, I got very excited, and I started also blogging. So I travel around the world now. It's really transformed my life. I've met some incredible teachers, and the reason I'm a better teacher is because of the teachers I connect with. But one of the reasons as a language, and that's why now I'm in Venezuela, which is the 28th country, training teachers here from TESOL, so it's very exciting. I think one of the most important reasons why, as an English language teacher, you might say, well, why do I want to connect online? You might say, why is that important? Well, the reason why is because things like this, where you get to come and you get to, for free, get to learn from everyone, and you get to learn from other teachers, you get to see their ideas. And for me, I found that I never run out of ideas. And also, it helps you, because of me, the learner who has struggling with pronunciation in some way, or with a grammar in a very specific way, or struggling with words and things, then one of the things is that you can ask other teachers and they'll be able to help you. But the other is, if you connect online, if you start learning online, then you're going to see how billions of different learners around the world learn a language. They learn a language online. And I really like this quote by Frank Smith, where he says, and more than ever, with our different types of technologies, we have our phones, our mobiles especially, language we find is social. We find many, many different language learning platforms, and they have a social component. They also, very interestingly, have a gamification, and gamification is something that we'll learn much later on in an updated presentation. But I really love what he says. He says it's becoming a member of a club, the community of speakers of that language. Also, when you learn a language, you also are able to connect more. You're able to understand more about culture, and I think you're a little bit more, your horizons are more widened. You're able to your brain is actually, you can learn more. It's really develops your brain to be able to learn different languages. Now, 3 languages. I'm an English language speaker. I'm also Spanish, and I get to practice my size. I lost some of it. And I also speak German as well. So we have Web 1.0, 2.0, and 3.0, and you might say, oh my gosh, just like my friend Ezra here, she's a teacher from Turkey, and so she's a beautiful model here. But many of you may see all this technology that you have to teach with: interactive whiteboards, mobile devices, iPads, Chromebooks. And it might feel very, very overwhelming. You might say, wow, this is just so much, and each year, sí, Katie, muy bien. Katie is saying how she is learning how she as well. And if you're a language teacher, you tend to speak different languages. I think the majority of language teachers do. But when you're thinking of all these technologies, it's great that American TESOL is here and able to really help you to come through this. Well, that's great. And we have some so it's really great to be able to come here and for 30 minutes get a rundown and kind of get a general idea. And then you get to go to your classroom and you get to try these ideas and you get to play. And that's what we really encourage. So and you can ask questions with each other. I'm really happy that many of you put your introductions into the ESL Tech course that there is. That's very, very nice. So we get to learn from each other and support each other and know each other. So you have your Web 1.0, your 2.0, and your 3.0. And so it's not important that you know so much what all of those terms mean. What you need to know is that the web is becoming where we can become more connected, where the web is kind of intuitive, where it can think about things for us, where it can read certain things, and it can help us learn faster. So one of the largest language, and to kind of give you an idea of why it's very, very important for us to see why it's important to connect and learn online with other language teachers around the world before we get into that, is to see how our learners learn. There are over 30 million users of Busuu. Busuu is one of the largest language learning platforms. And if you look at Busuu, they not only use this idea of personal learning networks, learning from each other, but they also have where you're competing against each other. And I think Busuu, that's why it's very, very popular, because you have here, you even have the little countries listed. So everybody's very pride, holds a lot of pride about their country as well. So it's all these language learners, and they're learning online. They're getting little badges, they're getting little symbols for it, and so they really motivate their users to be able to learn languages. Duolingo is the same. It has millions and millions of language learners, and they're not only learning English, they're learning all kinds of things. MyEnglish.com is one of the best places for a language teacher to really be a part of, and then you can get to see how your students learn. You can even invite your students. These are free, by the way. MyEnglish.com is a free site that you can go to. And on MyEnglish.com, they have about over 100,000 language learners, and they do all kinds of certain things. But one of the things is that it allows you the ability to get into groups. So in myenglish.com, they actually have chats that they do with each other. Learners get together and they have scheduled chats where they can have a poetry chat, or where they can have a chat about the news maybe, or maybe they can have a chat where they talk about certain questions. So there's a lot of times when our language learners get together, and then they can use what they learn, the English that they learn, and really put it to use. Because during these chats, there's not really teachers involved. It's students, it's a bunch from around the world, and they're taking the initiative to create a chat. There are games, there are interactive tools, there are forums, they have web challenges. Tara Banwell, who is a part of that, and you can follow her on Twitter. Tara takes a big pride when she does this. She really helps navigate the learning and gives them challenges. Their challenges are to use Web 2.0 tools as well to learn. There's different books and community challenges there as well. Now in American TESOL, you're able to go and you're able to find how, with American TESOL, you're able to go and you're able to find how different types of ways that no me lo está, por favor. Where you go into with language learners. Sorry about that. But you're able to do a lot with American TESOL as well. American TESOL has a lot of groups for teachers. Teachers get together. You can follow the blog, things like that. Now there's even places that have language learners, and it's just there's hundreds of thousands, and this social network, Boxapop, is all with your ears. You talk, and then after you have a talk group, then you listen to the discussion. So you don't see a lot of people's faces and things like Facebook or something, but instead you listen. So as teachers, you kind of see this expanding world of how we have language learning online and how we connect and we learn. And the reason why is because many, even in small villages, I was recently at a conference in New York, and was an international teacher and presenter from Beijing, and his name is Jeff Utek. He teaches at the International School of Beijing, and what he does, he has he was saying how in a little village, in one of the poorest places, that they got one mobile device, and 15 people would share a mobile device, and they would learn and do things with this mobile device. They would get businesses and all kinds of things. And we're finding that in even small villages where they can't afford too much, that there's this trend to learn mobile with a mobile device. So they may share, you know, a village or something may share a mobile device, and I think it's really interesting and exciting to be able to learn about that and see how we can use these tools to connect and learn a language ourselves. So some of you may be language teachers, and you may need practice learning the language as well. Your English may not be perfect, and that's okay, because I've seen many language learners, 4-year-olds, 5-year-olds, 6-year-olds. I've taught from 2 years old to 80 years old, and I've taught in over 25 countries. I've met with teachers and language learners face to face, and their English, the English of the students, even when the teacher's English is not very good, has been phenomenal. I've heard English language learners in Croatia and in Turkey that were 4 to 6 year olds, and their accent was really incredible. I mean, it was very good accent. And even in Brazil, and their teacher's accent, and maybe their English wasn't perfect, but theirs was. The language learners were. So I don't think that you have to be this person or this teacher if you're a language learner and you're that language isn't your English isn't your native language. I think you still can be a very incredible teacher, and I think in a lot of ways it has to do with that you understand what it is to learn a language, especially English. So I think you can really help your students that way. So how do we get help? How do we find out how we can be the best language teacher? Well, one of the ways is social media. How can we do that? Well, there's social media. On LinkedIn alone, and that's one social network, there's nearly over 100,000 teachers now. I mean, 1 million teachers, about 1 million teachers on LinkedIn. Now, this is one of those professional networks where they can list their profession so they know that. So think about the other social networks, because there's literally billions of authors, researchers, organizations, professionals, thought leaders, subject matter experts who you and your student from, and you can have daily conversations with. So I think that's very exciting. So on all the other social networks, think of all the social networks that you're on. And if you can, in the chat box, you can list what kind of these experiences have you had. Well, all of you today can add webinars. You've connected with other teachers on webinars, yes, because we are in a webinar. This is what this is. I am teaching you from the Adobe room. And I know, Peggy, you are an expert at all of these. I think. I've never seen you on Pinterest. Maybe. I tend to be too. I try to try everything. I've even tried Vine. I've tried Vine with teachers and connected with them. I've tried different things. Recently, I tried Snapchat. I didn't get it. I'm not very... So I just wanted to learn what it was about. I didn't really connect with anybody. I connected with one teacher so I could find out how to use it, since I'm writing a book on digital users. But I'm active on Pinterest. I'm active on Instagram. I think Instagram's a great place for teachers. E-conferences. Peggy George and I help run quite a bit of them. So, so Boxer is something that I've been doing. I'm not the best at it, but I do regularly Vox and share with other teachers. I think it's a voice one, so it's a lot like Voxapop in a way. It's like a walkie-talkie. You can leave voice messages. Twitter, definitely. I think I'm kind of a pro at that by now. There's a lot of LinkedIn. I'm there as well. Facebook, and then there's massive open online courses, and right now actually I'm helping run one that you can be part of. And the thing is that all of these connections are free. They're free for you, bookmarking, Digo, YouTube, Google+. I mean, so you can go to a lot of these different places and you will find teachers. And when you find those teachers, I want you to connect with them. And why? Because this is where you get to meet them. And you can see I've been around the world now. And one of the things is that at conferences especially, when you are at conferences, you get to know the people before you go to the conference. So if you're one of those language teachers and you say, oh, you know, I feel lonely, I don't know anybody at a conference, you can meet them before and you can find what it is that they, about your personal learning network. You can find out a lot about the conference. So, and you can start connecting and getting to know people. So when you go to the conference, you can have a wonderful time with people that you really feel like you've met from all over the world. So on this one, a few things, you know, this is my friend Vicky Samuel. I've met all these people online first, and then I met them at conferences as well. She's from Argentina. In Cecilia, she's from Brazil. Jennifer Verschoor in Argentina. Marissa Constantinidis, she's from Greece. Bruno is in Brazil, different places. And me, where was I from? Well, one of the places that I was from here. Why is this thing not stretched out? Sorry about that. I came from the U.S. And we're all actually in Scotland. We were in IATEFL. Okay, and so these are some more people that I met at a conference in Paris. The conference ended up being with my birthday. So from Ireland, we have James from, now he's also in Costa Rica, from France, from Brazil, from Turkey, Switzerland, Suanan from a little town. So there are people from all over the world that you can connect with. So what I'm saying is when you do end up going to conferences, and some of you may get to, but some of you may not get to. But even if you don't get to, you feel like you know the people. So when you do get to a conference, you can even have a virtual conference, then you feel like you know the people around you. And I think that's very important. This is based on pedagogy. So you might say, oh, well, I don't think that this is something that's for me because I don't see how this would support the kind of learning that I do. Well, there is pedagogy based on this, and it talks about the pedagogy of connecting online. As soon as you connect online, you automatically begin to have with learning, okay? And the people you choose to follow, even if you choose not to follow teachers, if you don't choose to follow people for your professional development, then you're learning everything in streams that the people that you read every day. So you have to remember how many of you read are on your social networks and participate every day. That means every day you're learning in them every day. So when you do that, then what you can do is that you end up processing that information. So it's important that people that you follow, you make it count. You make sure. When I follow other teachers, it's great because sometimes I've followed relatives, followed friends, and I've had to take them out. I've had to take them out of Facebook or mute them because they were feeling, you know, it wasn't good stuff that I was learning. I was learning stuff that wasn't very good. And sometimes it's good, you know, to have a good laugh and things like that. But now that it's the new year, it's 2015, you can make this kind of the people that you can learn it, they positively feed you. So it's very good to be able to do that. George Seaman and Steve Downs are some of the founders of Connectivism. One of the things is that the people that you connect with, you learn from them, but they also learn from you. So it's important that what we share, we remember we always have an audience. So if we're teaching each other, then we're always seeing someone else's thinking, their buying decisions, their behavior, what they believe morally is right, the news that they see, the politics, the way they feel about a certain culture or a situation, a lot in your life. When you're connected, you get to choose if it's on Facebook, if that's how you feel, where you learn the most, or that's where you go the most, or maybe do something like, for example, you're on maybe you're on Instagram, and maybe that's your thing. You can connect with teachers on Instagram and see what they do, and they take pictures and they show you their work and things like that. Maybe Twitter, maybe it's Google+, maybe it's LinkedIn, wherever it is, connect with teachers. And then you have to decide, what do you want to learn? And when you decide what you want to learn, then those are the people what you want to learn, then those are the people you try to connect with. So you can connect, for example, with Scott on different social networks. And Scott, he's a good instructor. He's a great writer of English language materials. Simon Greenall, very to a lot of the things too. Oh, that's good. So, oh, that's great. Bahar did that. Pages that will really help with help you connect other teachers and learn some knowledgeable things. So thank you for teaching, sharing. And if you do have Instagram pages of teachers, or Pinterest pages of teachers and things like that, or even Facebook pages that you go ahead and share them. Feel free to post them in the EltChat community, or even here in the chat box, because then you're helping others find where there are teachers on these networks. So I think that's very good. Yes, Ismir, I'll go ahead and share that in a bit. You also have to decide, who do you want to connect to? How do you want to learn? And how much time can you invest? And what is the best tools for you? So the first thing that I'm going to tell you in all of these, the language where you follow a bunch of teachers, and Ismir asked a very good question. He asked in the chat box, he said, to mention some of the teachers, or where to find the teachers in these social networks. And I think some of these is to follow a hashtag, is a word with a number. Follow certain ones. You're going to find teachers, especially English language teachers. This works on Facebook. This works on Instagram. This on a lot of time on LinkedIn so much. Maybe. I'm not sure. But you can do a search for these keywords, and you will. This will follow. Pop up on Pinterest and LinkedIn if you search for these words. Also on Twitter especially, you'll find these, because this is actually where the hashtag was invented. The hashtag was invented on Twitter by one of the founders of Twitter. You have things like EltChat. You have things like TESOL. You have things like BASIC. I'm actually one of the founders of EltChat. Also one of the founders of EltChat. So these were kind of first language learning chats for teachers all over the world on Twitter, and that happened 4 years ago. And we actually have our reach is about 1 million people every 3 days, according to the statistics. So when you find, exactly, Peggy George gives good advice. She says when you follow someone you really respect on Twitter, you can follow some of the people they follow. And a lot of times you can look at their Twitter list. Look at their Twitter list and see what the list, usually they'll have a list of people they follow. YOTSIG, if you teach young learners, then that's a good hashtag. BASIC, if you teach business English. TESOL, if you just want general, then you can find that. ELTPics, where many language teachers get together and share pictures that they take that you can use in your classroom. So I think one of the best places for English language teachers is actually EltChat. And EltChat actually has a bunch of places where they have a wiki, EltChat, and you can follow. The first person I would say for many of this, and you can find her on as well, is if you go to Marissa Constantinidis. She's very well connected in the English language teaching community. But Marissa she was my trainer when I got my CELTA in Greece. She did what she does, but you can also find her on Facebook. So you can go there And of course, you can always find American TESOL. We're going to be on all the places. You can search for that Marissa Constantinides on Facebook, and you can follow the people that she follows because she's always with language learners. And Sean Walden. Sean Walden is, so Marissa is in Greece, but Sean Walden is also over there in, Sean Walden is in the UK. So Sean Walden also, he's also follows a lot of people in ELT, and they're the ones who currently run and moderate EltChat. Another great place to go and find teachers, especially if you're on Facebook, is the teachingenglish.britishcouncil.com. They actually have over 3 million English language teachers and learners that are on their page and have liked their page. So if you look at the forums, then you'll be able to see through the comments, you'll see people that comment and interact. So if you know something about teaching teens or kids and you like their comment, go ahead and send them a friend request. See if they'll be your friend. And a lot of times they might do that. For YouTube, you can find American TESOL. The YouTube channel is that if you're going to the American TESOL YouTube channel, then you'll also be able to find you'll be able to see people watch the videos, but you'll also get access to all of these recordings that we have, all the hundreds of recordings we've done in the past. So if you're saying, how do I get all of these recordings of the great videos you do? Well, this is how you're going to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and share that with you. And of course, there's called Jerry Cyprarimac, and he has a list of all of these hashtags. And also, he has a link to mine when you can also the chats, because I think the chat really, and also you can Google a lot of these things, a lot of the hashtags, and find the hashtags. How do we make this easier? How do we make it easier for us quick? Well, I'm going to give you a few tips before we leave and finish this recording. One of the ways is to connect with your mobile device. I actually have, I connect with Twitter here, I connect with Facebook. There's a lot of apps that I use. I connect with Google+, my Google communities. I do LinkedIn. All of that I do mostly on my mobile device because I can carry it everywhere with me. Oh, I also have, I should tell you, I'm going to pause really quick because I also have an Android. It's for my time here in Venezuela. So it's not only that you can do it here. I want you to know that, you don't have to have a, you just have to have a device that connects online. So yes, you can do it on your Android device as well, okay? You can also manage it with different apps. I prefer Every Post and Buffer are two apps. They're only really, they only work that. Every Post is my favorite, but it only works on your mobile device, really. It makes it easier. So if you're someone like me and you want to share in lots of networks, like you want to share on Instagram, you want to share Pinterest, you want to share on everything, then Every Post really allows that. It's for Android and it's also for your iPhone, so you can find it for both devices. I would recommend TweetDeck if you're on Twitter and you want to manage everything. It puts it on streams. It's for your web page. It's your web. But it's also, it's a great way to put people in streams and to really follow lists and be able to learn from each other. You can connect, communicate, collaborate, and create. This is kind of the process you go through when you're a connected teacher. You have to create a profile. So you don't have to put your face, but these are what my different profiles look like. You want to let other teachers, first of all, you have to let them know you're a teacher. So that's one of the first things to do is say, I'm a teacher, I'm an author. If you're an author, I'm a trainer. If you're a trainer, I'm a language learner. If you're a language learner, whatever it is that you want, let them know, hey, I'm a teacher. It's good if you put a face. If you put a face, then they know you're real. Sometimes other teachers don't feel comfortable putting something, and if you have, um, um, they don't feel comfortable if they're following a cartoon or a cat or something like that, or a phrase or a saying. I don't mind, but a lot of teachers do mind. What do you include in your profile? Well, include something very short. Say something, I'm a teacher, I teach math, I teach science, I teach in Iran, I teach in Venezuela, I teach, and then say something a little personal that you like. One of the things is you might say, hey, I really like volleyball. I watch volleyball, or I'm into football. I watch football. I'm a football fanatic. I support this team or that team. So I think that. And no, I currently am in Venezuela teaching right now, in training. What do I share? Well, each of you, don't feel like you have nothing to share. Don't feel like it's been shared before, because every day there are millions and millions of teachers that are connecting to other teachers. So for somebody in another country, it might be that, for example, somebody's in Korea, or somebody's in Japan, or somebody's in the US, or somebody, and they're new teachers. Let's say that they're 18, 19, 20. They're just coming into this field, and every day there are those teachers coming into the field. Then they are going to find whatever you share as something new, because they haven't learned it before. So share. You know, you might share your lessons, your lesson ideas, your activities. You make those lessons anyway. And after you use that lesson once, you may never use it again. So you might as well keep that learning. If it's a good lesson, you say, wow, I love that lesson, or it really got my learners to speak. See, as Ismail says, he's new and 19. So see, Ismail can learn a lot from you. He's one of those teachers. So share things that you struggled with, because then other teachers can read it and they can say, wow, I struggled with that too. How can we help each other? So it's interesting that you share. And then share victories. Hey, today we all made, we made our posters, our I Believe posters, and you can share things your students do, and it can make other teachers very excited and give them ideas for what they can do with theirs. Or they might say, hey, that's a really good idea. Do you want to connect? Maybe someone in Venezuela, a teacher in Venezuela, will see you. Oh, sorry, maybe she can learn from you. Sorry, Ishmael. But also, you can have a global collaboration project, and you can learn together and from each other. When you connect online, you have so much power as a teacher. It's almost like you feel like you can do anything, because you have such a supporting network. You have all these people behind you cheering you on, ready to really help you. And you can even see in the chat box right now, there are a lot of people who are sharing the resources, and even sharing like people they follow, and they're helping, because that's what teachers do. Teachers have a very big heart, and they like to help people learn. And so when you get a bunch of people together and join a community where it's a bunch of different teachers who are giving and want to share their passion and their knowledge and help, then you come out with something very powerful. All of a sudden, your days teaching aren't so bad, because I know it's very tough for you to be able to go every day. I think, a teacher's job is very, very tough. And it's one of the most incredible things you can do in the world. So you may not get paid a lot. It may be a struggle. You may work long hours. But if we're supporting each other, then we're really doing something profound, because we're making ourselves better for our students. These are the different networks that I've been in. Currently, I'm running a MOOC, and I'm also training here. And also doing a lot of other stuff, and I've done that because other teachers that I connect with, that really help me. So you can connect with me on all of these places, and then you'll be able to find different places to learn from other teachers as well, because I share a lot of their work constantly. I'm sharing what I find from other teachers, and if they have a project and I think, wow, this is a great project, or a virtual conference or something. Peggy George does that a lot too, so you can follow Peggy George as well, and on her Twitter, I know she's at P. George. But there's you'll be able to find like a lot of the different types of professional development that's out there for teachers for free. The other one hashtag that I didn't put that you should know is ELTMOOC. You should do a search for that on Twitter, and you do a search for that on Facebook, and you'll find lots of free professional development. You'll see people like Nellie Deutsch, you'll see